Hello, everyone. This is Pause for Parenting, brought to you by Paradise, Parent Education for Development in Barbados, and this radio station. I'm Cicely Clark Richmond, Director of Paradise. Paradise is a non-governmental organization established with the primary goal of addressing the challenges faced by parents and families in Barbados. Assistance is provided through a wide range of programs, which include classes in parenting designed to educate parents in all aspects of child-rearing practices to help them to positively impact the lives of their children. Paradise promotes strong, cohesive family life, which includes working towards life goals, imparting values to promote positive family life, and practicing work-life balance to include entertainment, reading, play, and to bring balance to life. Paradise also provides private and confidential individual and family counseling. These sessions are designed to assist clients to identify the root problems affecting them. Our other flagship program is the Community Outreach Program. We will be happy to assist your organization, be it a school, place of employment, church, community, or sports groups, to talk to parents and young adults about parenting. Call us at 427-0212 or email us at admin@paradise.net with your requests. We also offer a parenting class where you can learn how to keep your child involved in positive, wholesome activities. Classes are held on Wednesdays between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. and Saturdays between 9:30 and 12:30.
I am your host today, Shernell Marshall. It is said that humans are tripart beings. That is, we are comprised of a body, soul, and spirit, which are interrelated, and each segment impacting on the other. This means it is not enough to simply focus on one aspect of our person, but for us to practice true wellness, we must cater to each. For World Health Day 2022, the WHO is focusing on the urgent actions needed to keep humans and the planet healthy and foster a movement to create societies focused on well-being. And as mentioned, we cannot address well-being without including mental wellness. Today, we are delighted to have two mental health physicians, Doctors Ronald Chase and Tara King, who will be sharing with us today as we look at mental well-being. Dr. Chase completed his clinical medical training and his Doctor of Medicine in Psychiatry both at the KFL campus of the University of the West Indies. Dr. Chase is a senior registrar at the Psychiatric Hospital with 14 years of experience working in the field of mental health. Dr. King also holds a doctorate in psychiatric medicine and is a senior registrar at the Psychiatric Hospital, assigned with the Children's Mental Health Clinic. Welcome, doctors.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
We want to kick off today's discussion by first defining mental health and why is it important. Who shall go first?
I'll go first. So mental health is, you look at it in a way that it's how we think, how we act, how we feel. It's comprised of many multifactorial components such as biological, psychological, social, spiritual. Mental health also affects how we think, feel, act, and it's an important stage of every aspect of our life, from childhood to adolescent to adulthood. It is a fundamental part of our life. You cannot have mental health without physical health, and both are equally important components of overall health. It also helps us to determine how we manage stress, make choices, relate to others, and it's an integral part of our overall health because your brain is one of the most important parts of your body.
And you mentioned that you cannot have the mental health without good mental health without good physical health. And persons such as myself who sadly experience digestive health issues, we know that this is true because we're told that stress is one of the major factors that impacts on your digestive health and how that impacts your physical health. So Dr. Chase, we heard all that Dr. King would have said, but still outside of that, why is it important, or is it really all that important? Are we making such a big deal about mental health because it's a new in thing? Because today every catchphrase is mental health, mental wellness, mental this. Before, I think I'm hearing some of my older listeners listen and say, oh, we didn't have this in our day, we didn't have that, and we got through quite fine. Tell us why it is such a big deal or so important today.
I think why it is important is because it affects all of us. We speak about mental health, but some of us hear mental illness. But mental health is not just the absence of illness, but mental health affects all of us. We live and we breathe. So whether it be in this age, the last generation, 2 generations before, once you're living, you're going to get stressed. And they're going to be, and it's sometimes everyday things that stress us more than, let's say, a big stressful event like a war or a natural disaster. It is the sometimes getting up every single day to go about your business that you're expected to go about, but you're not feeling about it. It is the everyday having to be faced with tomorrow is payday. Tomorrow isn't payday, but tomorrow is payday.
We wish it were.
Yes, we did. And the following day, I gotta go and pay all the bills. So my account, I can be back broke again within a day. Right? Or the fridge isn't working anymore. Or even worse yet, the bottle of gas is out. Things that you don't expect to happen that then stretches our budget, stretches our pay back a little more than it should be. All these things affect our mental health on a daily basis. We're now hopefully coming to the back end of a pandemic, right? That too obviously would have played an important part in, how we cope and adapt. That is what mental health is, how we adapt to everyday life, stressors, how we cope with it, how we interact with each other as a result of it, and how do we let it impact ourselves. So whether it is just this generation or the generation of 1840, they would have had life stressors that would have threatened the mental health.
And I think you've broken that down for all of us that we can now totally understand what this thing mental health is and how it pertains to us in our everyday lives. And I think by saying that mental health is not the absence of not simply the absence of mental illness, puts it into perspective, which leads me into my other question. What role then can parents play in building or providing that healthy mental environment for their children?
Okay. So in order for your child to have a good mental health, you as a parent should have a good mental health. And the parent themselves is who is mainly responsible for imparting the mental well-being of your child. So how can a parent do that? Now, mental health in childhood also includes developmental, their emotional milestones, how they learn, their social skills, their coping ability. But in order for a parent to impart those things, the parent themselves has to be mentally well. So how can a parent then help a child to develop those things? They can work on imparting good self-esteem or help your child to develop good self-esteem. And how can they do that? So let's say your child does something good. You praise them and show them that you care about their activities. You make time for them. You show that even if they did something wrong, you can say to them, okay, what you did may have disappointed me. The behavior disappointed me, but you as the child are not a disappointment. So there's a very big difference between understanding what your child does as a behavior, and which may be disappointing, than to say you are a disappointment. So you have to build up the child's self-esteem, working on things like showing interest in their activities, setting realistic goals for your child. Also listen and respect their feelings. If a child comes to you and they want to talk about how they're feeling, and they say to you, Mommy, I feel really sad today, or I feel really lonely today, you should say, well, tell me what's going on. How can I help you? Why you feel that way? How long that's been going on for? What made you feel that way? Your response should be to encourage the child to express their feelings so that they can build communication, learn to conversate with you, build trust between you as a parent and the child, to validate their feelings so they know that they can have an emotional response, and it's okay to have an emotional response. And to talk about emotions, talk about feelings. And that is important. You cannot then turn around. If your child comes to you and say, I feel sad, your response should not be, what you got to feel sad about? Or I feel lonely. Well, you got enough friends at school. All the child has learned is, I can't come to my parent to tell my parent how I feel, because my parent is going to invalidate those feelings. And therefore, well, why should I go back to my parent again when I'm feeling a certain way? Because I'm not going to get the emotional support that I require. And therefore, they're going to look for someone else to go to. Dr. Chase would like to add to that.
Additionally, I think we tend to underscore your first point in terms of the parent looking out for their mental health. Because if you don't look out as a parent and make sure that you look out for your mental health, doing that simple task of sitting down and listening to your child after you've come in from work with the stressors on your back, already from work, then to hear this child of whatever age, Mommy, Daddy, I didn't have a good day, and you're telling yourself, you're going to be judging that child. I can't do it right now. I am myself need a mental health break. I myself feel stressed. So it is important for us as the adults to learn to manage our stress. Because if we don't manage our stress and we come home to do our first primary job as parents, we can't get due because we can be too tired from the second job of being at work. And if you don't do that, then you don't foster, as Dr. King said, that environment of openness, of sharing, of inviting to come and to speak and to share and to discuss what's happening with them. That is important because it sets the environment in the home itself. Mm-hmm. Because we think children are children, so we don't tell them the adult things that happen in the home, but the children pick up on it. And when you have them kind of internal conflicts, for example, between two parents, or in this day and age, a lot of us live with the extended family. So uncle and mommy don't get along, granny and daddy don't get along. That there doesn't lend, that brings a lot of tension into the household. And I think that is underscored as well as being very important in developing a child's mental health.
Mm-hmm. Now that we're here, I want to touch on this, or rather ask you guys. So I am a parent. I come home from work, as you mentioned, and I've had a grueling day. And that's probably my norm. It's a job that I go to because I have to put food on the table and I have to keep a roof over my children's head. It's not necessarily my dream job. I am underpaid. I am overworked. I have a boss that needs some people skills training. All these difficulties that parents go to. I just fought traffic to get home. Mm-hmm. And I sit in the car thinking about gas prices just gone up and going up and keep going up because this war is dragging on. And all these things are going through my head. And I have to pick up my child from school, and then we get there. And yes, it's the end of a term, let's say, or something, and your report, or you're not doing so good, or I'm hearing complaints from your school, or I'm hearing. So I have those. I have work, I have school complaints. So then I have, as you said, in the home with my spouse, maybe because, the bills are mounting up, and that's one of the main conflicts in home, financial conflict. So I have that, and we're, not say quarreling for our child to see, but there's that tension there. So I have several stressors. How do I, as a parent, because you're saying to me as a parent, I first must manage my own mental health before I can create that healthy environment for my child. How do I do that when I have to come in and face you this evening? And all I want to do, as you just said, is have a mental health break. How can I teach the parent this evening what they can do first?
Well, I would say it depends on the person and what they enjoy doing for relaxation. And we sometimes think that to take a break or to have this relaxation is, we need the entire day off. Not really. You're leaving work. You know the stresses on your back from leaving work. You also know that you're going to your first job, which is your home. If you're on the bus, you might, according to you, sit down by someone that doesn't have a very pleasant smell, and that offsets you a little more. But you can use that time as well to get back to you. I had a boss at times say she used to smoke some Bob Marley. So when she was leaving work, she would roll up her windows, everything apparently, play some Bob on her way home. So because sometimes you're not going to get that breathing space when you step foot through that door, or if you're going to go and collect your children from the time they step through the car door, you ain't getting that breathing space.
Especially if there are two of them and they're boys and you're fighting.
Oh no, you have two girls that are fighting too. All is the same thing. Trust me. And you're gonna, so as a male, a father, I struggled with that because you came home and we're not like mothers. So you were like, okay, especially when the children were younger. Came home and be like, all right, I just need a little 15, 30 minutes to breathe. And mommy's like, breathe what? We got things to do. You understand?
Mommy's just switch roles automatically.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're not able to switch roles automatically, you then have to do your de-stressing on your way home before you got to switch that
Before you
role.
enter home, yeah. But also you can look at ways to improve your mental health overall. In terms of, let's say, we talked about today's World Health Day, and they usually focus on physical health. But that's a big part of mental health also, because you need to be physically healthy. You need to make sure that you are, let's say, getting enough rest, getting enough sleep. Sleep hygiene is important. Looking at, okay, make sure you have a good bedtime routine, which is, all these things are very difficult when you have a lot of stresses on board. But you must make an effort to put these things in place, at least to help to reduce the stress. So let's say, for example, sleep hygiene. Try to get enough sleep when the night comes. Make sure you have a routine for bedtime. Try to keep the same bedtime every night. It might be a challenge because you have children and they got homework to do, and it's going to be hard for you to set that routine, but a routine is important. Also, to maintain, when it's time for bed, knowing that the TV, the computer, the television, the phone, every electronic device, all those things should not be in your bedroom. I mean, ideally, people love to have a nice big screen TV in their room, but those things are distractions, especially if you're trying to get a good night's rest. So you should have a cutoff time for electronic devices or social media. Try to exercise daily. That's the next thing that's very hard for parents to do, or anybody in general in this time. But some form of exercise will also help to de-stress you, to improve your mood. Also looking at, people say, why didn't I sleep whole night, doc? But you drank 4 cups of coffee today. What do you think is going to happen? You're not going to sleep. So you have to avoid, I know Dr. Chase looking at me, but you have to avoid coffee drinkers. Try to avoid how much coffee you're drinking before you go to sleep, or, reduce the amount. Overall, good nutrition. Try to eat healthy. So, fruits, vegetables, cut out all the unhealthy foods, the things high in sugar. All of those things will
Fast
help.
foods.
Yeah, fast food. All those things will help to improve your mental health overall. Also looking at, let's say, for example, taking a break from negative information, being on social media, right now things are going on in the world so much. COVID's still on us, the war, startup. There's a lot of information bombarding people, and some of it can be very negative. And that alone sometimes can affect your mental health, having all this information, and it's so negative, and it's like, if I need to cut that out, turn that off, and probably thinking in a more positive way so that my mental health remains good. And all of those are things that you can continue or try to do. It can be stressful, it can be hard. But if you put things into practice, overall, over time, those things will start to improve.
And our children watch us and
Yeah.
what we do. And
They copy us.
if they see us not coping well with things, then that teaches them how not to cope with things. If they see us in a routine, then they learn a routine. If they see us how we interact, how we manage our stress, how we speak with persons, how we even look after our health,
Mm-hmm.
what we eat,
Yeah.
they will model us. If we do that in an unhealthy way, they will model that. If we do that in a healthy manner, they will model that.
They will model good behavior. They model good examples.
So if we as the parents give them that good example, and by even doing not even all, but some of these things that Dr. King mentioned, our children, that will also impact our children's mental health, because they'll be learning how to manage their mental health as well.
I'm hearing you guys speak, and parents, I just want to say to you that this is not just talk. This is not just rhetoric. I have been there. I have had to, you're working, you're studying, you're a parent, and that's a full-time job. So even if you're at work, you get a call, parenting does not get turned off. I can leave work and I say, I'm done for the day, not till tomorrow. But even when I go to work and I get a phone call as a parent, I'm on parent duty. If I'm at class and I hear something, I have to leave class and get home. So you're a parent 24/7. You said your other job, your primary job, but that's your full-time job and the others are your secondary jobs. Mm-hmm. So I get it, parents, but I totally agree. I know how I did not get a downtime coming home. But I did not have a physical downtime to come through the door, but I put, as you said, headphones on. It wasn't Bob, but it was something that, was inspirational for my spirit. And that helped me by the time I came through the door. And even in this age of social media, when there's so much information flooding you, and you said it's not all negative, but sadly, 75% or more of it is negative.
Yeah.
Everybody has an opinion today, and it's usually not something very positive or very uplifting. And I know for studying, I had to watch comedies because I cannot stand to see the news and more sad and bad reports. Sometimes you have to pull yourself away from the media and what is being said. All that information is not always that important sometimes. You just have to block out some of it. It's information overload. So I want to agree with what our doctors have said today, parents. Now we have 2 minutes to wrap up. So I'm giving you each a minute, 90 seconds each to wrap up. We will continue this discussion another time.
We would not only like you to focus on physical health, but also mental health. And there's no mental health without physical health. So both of those go together. And I would like people to more focus and think of it in a holistic way, that instead of only thinking physically, that you need to think mentally.
And for me, I would say we as parents are supposed to be examples for our children. Most of what our children learn is not by what we tell them, but what they see us do. So we have to get ourselves together. As Dr. King said, look after our health, not just physical health, but also our mental health. And that will teach our children to do the same.
And for wrapping up, that is perfect, because I like to tell our parents that it's about example. First and foremost, it is the example that we set for our kids. What they see us do, they will in turn do. So my favorite line to use, do as I say and not as I do, does not work. So you can't tell your child, oh, you need to, handle the emotions better, or do this, or, things that we say to them. We know what we say to them, parents, but then we do not do the same thing. So it's what we see, what we show them. And I want to say to you that it's half of your job done there. When you can be the example, when you can be the person you want your child to be, half of your job is completed. And parents say to me often, they talk so much, you have to talk so much. You talk less if you show more. If you can be more of an example, you do not have to speak nearly as much, because they're seeing what you're doing and they are going to do what you do. So, Doctors Chase and King, we are not even halfway in our discussion. We have so much more we want to say, but unfortunately, time goes swiftly on radio. So I am going to invite you guys back again for another session as we look into mental well-being and we get more into children and their mental. Do they actually have mental illnesses? So we talk about mental well-being, but do children actually suffer from mental illnesses? And that's what we want to look at next time. So my guests today have been Doctors Chase and Dr. King, Senior Registrars at the Psychiatric Hospital. And thank you guys for being here today. And I look forward to having you again very soon.
We hope that as you listened to this broadcast, you have benefited in some way and feel motivated to apply the information to your parenting experience. Once again, we at Paradise thank you for listening to Pause for Parenting. Remember, parenting is all-encompassing. Parents are their children's first and foremost teachers, guidance counselors, and nurturers. You are responsible for guiding and nurturing all aspects of your child's development, including their cognitive and educational development, as well as their social skills and emotional thinking. I leave you with these words of encouragement. Children are a gift from the Lord, a heritage and a reward, and are not to be seen as burdens. So train your child in the way that he or she should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I wish you a blessed and productive week ahead.